We'll call to order the October 17th committee of the whole meeting. So, step up. Or if you can start slowly calling the roll.
Slowly.
Good President Gusman said. Yes.
Absent. Clark,
Here.
Petty, here, Babcock.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our October 3rd committee of the whole meeting?
Right.
Motion by trustee Wright, second by someone other than trustee Wright, please.
He was, I so.
Oh, did you? Okay, sorry. Trustee Platt.
Yeah.
Very good one. I heard you both times. Clerk, you call the roll?
Yes, Babcock,
Yes.
Petty, yes, Clark,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Public comment. Is there any public comment this evening, any of the agenda items or anything else in general?
Yes, I'm on the phone in my office.
Good comment. Thank you, Chief. Okay, we're going to do business. Discussion and recommendation of establishing the village's financial contributions to the hometown holiday 2023. We do pass these along. I did just drop it in Drive, so if you're looking or in your folder, if you're looking in there, the exhibit is in the packet, but there's a hard copy. I think I just gave it away, so I'm looking at myself. You know, this is we're still the planning phase, but I think this is an accurate look at potential expenses here. We've sort of landed on right now a projected event expenses of around $8,300. I know that we have procured about $1,000 to date in donations. I think that will rise some, but in the interest of just having a safety blanket for this or safety net, I guess to ask tonight would be if the board approved, and we've not necessarily approved expenditures for these in the past like this, but if we approved perhaps not to exceed 7,500 would cover it, and that amount would be reduced by any other donations that came in. So moved. There we go. Oh no, the only I'll give you is that we appropriated $18,000 for 2023 for special events. We have currently expended $6,500 and change. If we did not to exceed 7,500 here, that would bring us up to a total of $14,000 against 18,000 appropriated. We have a motion from trustee Block. Second from trustee Simon. Any other questions or discussion?
I have to ask, what are the big snowballs?
So we want to have a snowball fight, right? They make plushy snowballs, and I think it's $37 for 100 of them. So I want to buy 1,000 at $370, and we're experimenting with a couple of different locations.
They'll be indoors, right?
Pardon?
Yes.
They'll be indoors.
They'll be indoors. I thought about it for a minute, doing it like setting up our parking lot kind of as an obstacle course with hay bales or something, or if it's snow, bits of snow mounds. But I think that they, I don't know that the plushy snowballs stand up to the elements very much.
Real stuff.
Yeah, so we're looking at, you're right, that could escalate. So we're looking at a couple different indoor locations.
It's fine.
I'm glad you said that because you were volunteered to supervise the.
Yeah, I think you were.
Nice. It's going to be downstairs.
I've done the Shining Rockford and it's a blast, but actually the parents had more fun than the kids, I will be honest.
And I know we spoke about it, but you confirmed with the lamplight carolers.
They're good.
I tell you what, it's really, this year, just a side note, the way that the event this year integrates with a regular annual event at Roscoe United Methodist Church is really gonna work out to everyone's mutual benefit. But our event, the hometown holiday event, sort of culminates with the tree lighting at about 6:30. We say that it ends at 7. The carolers will be joining us, so those will be ending their time with us at the tree. We do the lighting, and really then it transitions over to a whole nother event starting at 7. There's a dinner, there's a soup dinner that goes on simultaneously with the hometown holiday event. Youth, all the youth music programs will be performing in conjunction at Roscoe United Methodist Church, performing in conjunction with that soup dinner. So that will drive attendance of the soup dinner up, because everyone brings their parents and their grandparents and their brothers and sisters. They have packed this building when we used to have them in here. But then they have an actual choral group that's the headliner that will be starting at 7. So it's coming together nice.
If I may add, the organizers have reached out, if you know of any people who want to volunteer in help in putting together crafts or administering games or cleanup at the fire station,
Where does this actually occur?
many places.
What is it, where?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is Main Street. Now the footprint is kind of expanded from the intersection of Bridge and Main, all the way up to Main Street Square. So it is traditionally, it will now involve, not at their location, but the owners of the building, the business there will participate, perhaps even in this building. It starts kind of with the fire station itself.
Is the street closed?
Is not. There's a lot going on at the fire station. That's sort of a main southern hub of it, all kinds of different activities. Then it hopscotches over to Village Hall. Last year, we had a bunch of tables set up where kids wrote letters to Santa. There was a Mrs. Claus sitting here reading Christmas books to kids. We have a North Pole mailbox here, give out candy canes. And we think that our newest coffee shop might set something up in here as well. If you want to build your own hot chocolate or coffee or seasonal drink.
Or he'll do it at his establishment,
Yeah.
and he said he's going to decorate the front, the windows and that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Firehouse Pub opens up their whole back room. They've done cookie decorating and made hot chocolates for kids and some winter themed adult drink for the parents. We had traditionally then right next to there, the tree that gets illuminated is that big evergreen tree in the Jim Blevins State Farm Agency. He has his place all decorated out. He has a big roaring fire going in the parking lot. And he has Santa Claus on a big nice Santa chair for kids to actually visit Santa Claus there. We had traditionally done the kids done ornament paintings at R&L Ceramics. She will likely not be open at that time, but there's another entity wanting to do ornaments, wanting to stop up and fill that role, location to be determined. It now starts to extend up the Black Hawk Barber Shop will participate. There'll even be a barber shop group performing in a barber shop amongst other locations. They'll probably travel. Myers Canine Colony they have a huge, that Quonset hut is a big Christmas themed store over the holidays. They also set up a big s'more station with a fire pit. The church now is part of it, and that links us almost all the way. What's going on in the gym? Something's going on in the gymnasium that can make it as well. No?
That's kind of, that's.
Okay, that's been shut down. Okay,
Right.
that's been real.
All the music to the church.
Does it make sense to have the street closed, or is that not
It
possible?
was not possible due to understaffing. We don't have the personnel to do it.
And so you're gonna culminate to Main Street Square. There you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Something else too, is a fundraising, does not the organization, Nowicki make his metal Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're put at various places and those are used as a fundraiser?
They are, those are for 815 scholarships.
Okay, so separate from this
Correct.
event.
That's correct.
So could you elaborate on the staffing of the street closure? Is that?
Chief of Police will.
Yeah, so I mean, just to kind of relate it to the parade. That event alone took every single officer that we had. We also brought in 5 Winnebago County deputies just dedicated for that. One area Winnebago County deputy car was there, a Winnebago County sergeant was there, and a Winnebago County lieutenant was also on the scene. So I mean, it was a mass part of what we have for personnel, and we had just used Winnebago County. I mean, they don't charge us or anything for like the parade and stuff. It's a big ask to have that many personnel that they're paying overtime to for that many hours on top of it, that it
It's-
lasts longer than even the parade, and then, because all the cross streets and everything that you have. So it just being like a 2 block radius that's, you know, business or something like that. It's a lot easier to,
Can you close down a lesser distance? Like just 2 blocks?
well, that was discussed at one point, so, but.
Well, I'm curious.
The problem with it, with that one was I believe the bus turnaround and stuff then too. I know, like, they talked to us.
I'm just curious, does this generate revenue or just goodwill?
Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Yes. Is there a way we can finance the staff, or is there not staff to finance?
Well, it would involve like, I mean. More personnel than what we have. Like I said, just for the parade itself involved, like multiple jurisdictions.
It wasn't closed last year, let's not,
No, last year.
let's not prove last year. I don't think there were any.
Was there a general feeling? I'm just asking.
The greatest amount of traffic is from this building across the street to the firehouse and back, and probably to, Levin's corner. So the idea that we're marked and
So there's
more
really
lighting.
not a need, I mean, we're not having that many people there. There's a lot of big turnout.
I personally prefer it to be closed, but I know we don't have the staffing. I'd like
It's very difficult to do, like,
I'd like it to be like National Night Out where we just close from the bridge to Bridge Street,
yeah,
but
that's
we don't.
possible,
No.
but the other part of that though, then.
Is there a way to solve the staffing, or that's not possible?
Crossing
You can't
guards.
hire staffing.
What is
Well,
the crossing guards? What was the conversation on that?
that they are not going to be used. They don't have the jurisdiction, training, all of that kind of stuff.
I know they discussed
Power them
also
to act
for-
as law enforcement.
Yeah, I know that they had discussed like private security and stuff like that, shutting down roads, but that leads into it.
Is it they're shut though, or him being shut completely, or are we talking about like a partial, be closed, needs somebody there to go through? Okay, that's. What's the, what we completely shut it down, or is it about having it open? So, it looks to have a place.
No,
I'm just
no,
curious.
no. The vision was the road was going to be open.
To try to shut down the entire road, that's what
Right.
was asked, and to shut down from Bridge Street and Main all the way down to Platte, like just basically houses around that, and also just like the parade is. It would involve like basically almost double forces with the sheriff's department that also included in that. And that was also asking other departments to assist with other South Lake Rock and also assisting us with any calls that are outside that area as well, like within the village.
I imagine the county on a Saturday night would say, sorry.
We'll look at the budget, $7,500 budget, right, and we're like, but, I mean, it's not, I mean, we would eat that up in personnel real quickly, right, I mean, for all of us, so. Wouldn't make sense to hire somebody outside.
Yeah, that would have to be separate from that. If we were to do this for sure.
Yeah.
I'd just like to interject something. The Halloween event. The staff here has held the line at spending. She said $3,000. This comes out of the same line item, special events. And they've gotten $700 worth of donations. So just to give you, you know, we're doing something else at a lot lesser costs.
This gets a lot of people, so it's worth it, but this personally, I'd like to see the road go.
Would be cool.
I understand.
I would too, I mean, I'd rather.
Because there's a lot of kids
But
and stuff like that.
that amount, then the problem is the stretch that it is also, I mean, how long, you know,
Well, I wouldn't expect it to be the whole thing. Most of the traffic is right here in President West instead of, but
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you just close it for, is it? Make a big difference closing it for a lesser distance or not?
Yeah, I mean, way less personnel.
And like, say you just did it from this corner to, Levin's. Two
Yeah, I
blocks,
mean, that's doable. I would say.
2 blocks, you know, where that would be, if that's where the main activity would be. I think, just personally,
as the request to be allowed to construct the fence in that manner. Otherwise, I annotate. If denied, if or compliance with ordinance was required. That's what run along that yellow line. And actually, their proposed alignment is probably more like this, because I think this was a compromise that we had prepared showing a 15-foot setback in, and they're gonna do 7, so it's a little more than half. But
What's your recommendation?
my recommendation was for denial, but the zoning board of appeals did vote to approve.
Can you bring up the illustration you had where you showed what the fence would look like if in place all around the property?
Maybe.
Why did they approve it?
Good question.
I can't answer why, other than I guess they felt 17 feet back was sufficient so that it wasn't right up to the property line. I'll tell you something that goes into my decision making in this, and I'm gonna bring up widgets in general, just so you know. The mindset of staff recommendations on these. I'm gonna stop
Did
sharing.
the people actually come forward to?
Well, that's part of it, you know, we,
The zoning board?
yes, the applicants were present and presented, made their ask. And I will tell you, you know, we, as part of this, we have to notify all residents within 300 feet of the property, and we run a legal notice. That was actually a pretty big list of people we sent it to. There was over 30 properties that were part of that property is within 300 feet of this one. And nobody showed up to speak in opposition. And I think a couple of the ZBA members mentioned, well, hey, people know about it and the neighbors don't seem upset. So perhaps that was a variable in their decision-making process.
Is their front yard actually where the cul-de-sac?
That's what I was gonna ask, where's the, I was,
That's the front of their house?
yeah, where's the fourth?
So let me bring up a street view.
Ones that you gave just for.
Might be helpful.
Did they say, Scott, in the meeting, why they wanted this?
What I said,
They just want to enclose all of their yard. They did say they wanted, there is a 4-family unit to the north of them, and they did indicate that they want to screen the view to that 4-family unit, but I would assert that either fence configuration would achieve that same goal. Okay, so
You're saying like a 4-foot fence would be
no, I'm
fine?
saying if they just held it along, if they kept it out of the front yard setback. So here's the house, here's the corner. It's not. What's that? No, it's not sharing it, Joe. That what you do last time to make it share.
I see yours.
There we go.
It's just slow.
Okay. So when we get into the cul-de-sac. Maybe we won't go any farther. This is the house. So the house has, this driveway is not theirs, this driveway goes to the adjacent property. So what their front yard is, I guess, is up to interpretation. I think their front door faces into the cul-de-sac, but then the garage, there you go. That's a look at the house. So the driveway comes out. And when, I'll tell you, when evaluating these requests for a variance for a 6-foot fence in the side yard setback, when I, as zoning administrator, make a favorable recommendation, it's usually when you have the mirrored condition on the other side of the street. So some of our neighborhoods are set up as grids. So if you picture a series of 4 corner lots, you know, the ends of 2 blocks, where 2 of the houses face to the north, 2 of them face to the south, and they both have the true sides of their house running parallel and opposite each other. Those are times when I feel it's probably more appropriate or less of a negative impact on the front yard. I always describe the front yards as the collective character of a subdivision. That's where you want to see sort of the continuous ribbon of green and not have things that really block your view. almost all of the restrictions we have in zoning ordinance apply to things you can't do with a front yard setback. Within reason, you can do just about anything you want in the backyard, but front yards are sort of kept open. For community benefit.
And they want 6 feet in the front yard, all the way across.
Yeah, so what they asked for, and let me draw again here.
I mean, technically, it's their backyard, though. If you look at their house.
Well,
5 yard.
I know they have 2 front yard setbacks to be technical, but is the rear of the front.
yeah. So, yes, you are 100% right. So when we think of our front yard being the space between the front of our house and the street and the backyard where we go play, you're 100% right. From a zoning standpoint, there's 2 front yard setbacks, right? So let me draw on here where they would. So the fence would go here. It's hard to draw the mouse there. Now, I'm gonna show what it would do if you conform with ordinance, if they just did what ordinance said. That's what they would fence it. And I'll change colors. And their ask. Bring it out that much farther. I'll tell you, it was interesting, listening to the questions of the ZBA. Someone asked, what difference, like what? Why do you need it? What's another 13 feet? And there was no real answer other than we just want to maximize the fenced in area for our kids to play. But in the end, and I thought some of the questions were perhaps leading to a different vote, but in the end, they said, yeah, I guess it's okay.
Nothing in this.
No, yeah, so there's nothing proposed. I'll change colors. So that is it. What you're looking at, those lines drawn are what they want to build. The yellow line is the fence. If it had to be installed per ordinance, and this, oh, that blue, I don't know what color that is, purple. The purple line, a little color blindness issues, is the request to allow them to build that 6-foot fence, an additional 13 feet closer to the road than ordinance would allow, leaving 17 feet between the fence and their property line, and another 25 feet to the edge of the road.
Is that
So it's
road
really
that they're,
yeah,
is this road, Scott?
What's that?
That road,
It is not. I would not classify it as.
and nobody came and complained. Did the zoning board, all of them unanimous vote?
There was only 4 present, but all 4 voted yes.
But there are 3 yes, right? To build it where they want to build it, to build it higher, and to have a blocking view of privacy fence.
It would just be the 2, because they can build a fence there, right? They're allowed to build a fence there. It's just that height and construction type. They want it to increase it from 4 feet to 6 feet, and they want it to be privacy. So a solid fence. So yes, the variance addresses both of those aspects of ordinance. It addresses the height that's allowable in the front yard setback, and it addresses the construction approach, being a solid site screen privacy fence as opposed to an open.
But as Justin pointed out, it's really a side yard.
It is.
It looks like a front.
It is, but it is, you're right. That's accurate.
But it is technicality.
No, but my point is, when it's static, but think about it this way, to the neighbor across the street, it's not, it's the house
Right.
across the street, their front yard is looking right into this. I acknowledge, moving it back 17 feet is a big step in the right direction. I would have been an aggressive detractor if they were still trying to bring it all the way out to the property line, which was here. This was what the initial ask was to, do that.
And so they compromised themselves.
They did. That's exactly right. They modified their request. To push it back those 17 feet and to incorporate this little 45-degree angle, because there's a little landscape planting bed outside that they want to be on the street side of the fence, not on the inside of the fence.
So if we deny it and they go with the yellow line, essentially, they can still build 6 feet tall.
Correct.
So their neighbor across the street will still look at 6-foot fence,
That's correct.
and they didn't show up to complain about that.
You are correct on all counts.
And what was your position, Scott, that you wouldn't approve this?
Well, I wrote my staff report before they had modified their ask.
Okay.
Okay.
So this seemed acceptable then? Seems.
it's more palatable, but this is, this is a backyard, the lot geometry is such that it expands anyway, like they are able to capture a significant amount of fenced in area. While still complying with ordinance, and because the other houses on the other side of the street look directly into it. I'm just not inclined to see that a variance is merited, I guess I would default to say follow the rules. But I will also acknowledge that 17 feet back is a heck of a lot better than having it right at the property.
Yeah. To me, since no one showed up and they got notice of it. And people went through the trouble to modify what they.
If they follow the ordinance, it would be 4 foot and it would be picket style.
They won't do that. If this gets denied, they will build it as it's shown in yellow at 6 foot. They have no interest in a 4-foot fence. They have no interest in a picket style fence. They only want to build a 6-foot privacy fence. So it's a matter of, are you allowing that to come out 13 feet closer to the road?
They're not seeing this here in this meeting. I don't think the neighbor across the street is gonna notice where they put the purple line or the yellow line. Said, it's a 6 foot.
Maybe when they go to sell the house. Or when
That's what
they
it
buy
is.
the house, so you look at it right now, it's, moment in time, and then you go back like 10 years. But in the future, you say, why did this, that's there.
Yeah, but the people across the street had the opportunity to come up and oppose it, and then meeting they didn't. I don't even know where this place is, so if it's not a very busy street, I don't know if you're spending an awful lot of time arguing about something that you want to do. It seemed like they compromised already. And the zoning board, that's what they're replaced, approve or not. Anyway.
Make a motion to send it to the board.
There's a motion to recommend approval to the board by trustee Plot, second by trustee Babcock, correct? Any further discussion?
This is just to move it to the board.
Yeah, this just moved to the board. Clerk, will you call the roll? Here, the President Guston, the exhibit you were referring, I drew in with marker. I sort of roughed in what the fence would look like there, but I don't think I've ever scanned it or produced that electronically, so I'll share that with everyone. It doesn't apply anymore because it shows it all the way up to the road, but I'll produce that for the board meeting.
And can we ask them to come to our, when we vote on it?
Sure. I'm putting my call the roll.
Right,
No,
Clark,
Yes.
Eddie, no, Babcock,
Yes.
Simon.
No,
Well, there we
What was the tally?
3 goes, yes,
Is
goes to the board with
Recommendation.
the first reading?
I will note that the board, President Guston misspoke, it's a. Zoning ordinance.
Very good. Okay, thank you. And then, okay, lastly, 5.3, discussion and recommendation to the board for new Chicory Ridge subdivision entrance sign. Sent you guys a memo that kind of addressed holistically what we've done and are trying to do with subdivision entrance signs. Thank you to Troy and Public Works for the work they've done on some of the existing signs already. Once they wrap up cabin work, they're gonna go out and do some cleanup and some updating to Deerwood and Promontory Ridge. We've been communicating with HOA President Keith Liston on that. But Chicory Ridge has not had one as long as I think anyone remember. I don't know if anyone remembers what it looked
How
like.
did this come up?
This came up,
Triangle,
what?
you've got a triangle.
Yeah, this came up years, this came up years ago, we've had trustees that have been residents in that subdivision, we still have one now. I'm not saying that Justin was spearheaded, but the question was asked, why doesn't that subdivision have a sign? And
The resident says.
it's just sort of lingered out there, like, why is
It
it?
was stolen, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. There's 2 of them, there was, there's still some of the other ones.
Kind of summer trying.
I'll try to find it.
I'm gonna say some-
How long ago did the Roscoe Village sign get updated?
Which one?
Some of,
Welcome to.
Welcome to Roscoe.
2015, I think. 2015, 2016?
Has anybody ever been to Milton, Wisconsin?
Yes,
You know how many people live there? About 700. And they have a beautiful sign, welcome to Milton. It's multiple of it. And then they have these little directional signs of all the revenues are.
it's a great park.
Yeah, and we have twice the population, now Roscoe signs, wherever they are. In fact, I've seen them, I think once or twice, they're unnoticeable, that's why I couldn't tell you what they are. But to me, one, I don't mind having a subdivision sign, but it should be the subdivision should ante up a contribution, you know, to make that sign. This seems very expensive for that. I would think that once we, if we're gonna make a motion to improve the whole village downtown and Main Street, there's gotta be a marketing plan, a style guide that we do for all of these things. And not just a Tickery Ridge where, how many houses for sale there? I mean, you put a sign up there, you can advertise it for sale, everybody's already owns a house right there.
Fox Point paid for theirs.
Yeah.
Tony did.
I mean, you have a little one,
We went
did
over-
we do the one that just came up in Crystal Hills?
We tried to do Fox Point, but they wouldn't let us.
Really?
Yep, the people that own the property in the corners.
On both corners.
Well, I would also say this, you know,
Idiot. Yep.
Yeah.
being at Promontory, you know, we bought our house, we had to pay $500. You know, as a fee to put in our sign. We maintain the sign, we maintain landscaping. We have about a $9,000 budget for our HOA a year. Majority of this goes to upkeep, landscaping, lighting, that.
Yeah.
When you're talking about an investment like this, I think the sign is well deserved for Chicory Ridge, well deserved. But I do think that, you know, having landscaping, there's landscaping at Promontory Ridge. There's landscaping at Hidden Creek, you can't even see the sign at Hidden Creek because the landscaping is, and their HOA is pretty much defunct right now. So you could update the sign, but the landscaping blocks the view.
Yeah.
On there, which makes no sense to even have it, so. You know, do we, right now, we as a homeowners association, the plant dies, something needs to be done at the HOA, we do that, right, we take care of that. Not the village, so I think if you are gonna put landscaping in at Chicory Ridge or any of these other ones. You would have to do the same thing, you'd have to maintain it and do the same thing for all the subdivisions. That's my first thing. Secondly, I think the cost, you know, to William's point, I think that, you know, the signs in the village really need to be addressed. I think Chicory Ridge does need a sign, but I just think the cost, you know, our sign that we paid for out of our $500 back then was like, you know, $12,000-13,000 back then in early 2000s, so you're talking about.
No kidding, that sign? Yeah, shocking. That's a nice sign. It's a lot of stone.
It's a lot of.
And the sign drawings are nice, it just, I think it needs to be shared cost, if a subdivision wants it.
Well, that's my point, is that, we maintain that, sign and we spend the money on it. And I think that if you're gonna do that, a sign of this proportion for one, you should have to do it for all, potentially, right? I mean, you know, you're looking at all the subdivisions to investment. So the question is, you know, is $35,000 reasonable for this? It's a good subdivision, I still think we put a sign up, but I just think that, and then the landscaping issue too is, my question is, if you do landscaping, is the village, maintain that?
Traditionally, no. To that question, I would say if just for advance and. Just, I hope I was clear there. The prices, the 38 or 35,000 would be if you elected to do two signs, one at each entrance to the subdivision. And looking through, traditionally, that has not been our approach. We generally, there's been signs only at one entrance, so. I just throw that out there. If we did landscape it, what I would suggest that the village, install the landscaping in conjunction with the installation of the sign, and maybe see it through its first year, because the plant material is likely to be warranted, and we could replace things after that first year, but at that point, yes, it's turned over to private entities. It would be on private property.
So then watering it, like plants die,
We
who
do
would be
not take care of
responsible
it.
for that? So, but why invest in it? If we're just gonna leave it out there, and it's just gonna be, you know, whoever's gonna water it, because that's one of the things we have at Promontory, you get these droughts, there's no water there, we have to pay for somebody to come in with a water truck and
Yeah.
water, maintain all our landscaping. So there's a cost involved in that.
Sure.
And to make that estimate of $3,000 in potentially landscaping around it, and then just like let it go, it's fine, so, you know, keep it alive.
To my experience in the village, I think Promontory is the only one with an active HOA. Certainly the only one that ever communicates with the village and represents that they're an HOA.
Has anybody requested this from Chicory Ridge? Has there been anybody in the neighborhood who's requested or contacted?
Oh, it's contacted me.
I mean, we're have to be a special assessment, right? I mean, it's for essentially for the purpose of that group there, you do it, you split the cost amongst the village can fund it and build it and whatever else, and the cost gets split amongst the residents.
So you can do that specific to the subdivision?
You do, yep.
Why
You have to have permission, but you have to have the request, right? You have to have the signatures of the majority of the people who that assessment is gonna be on.
And then they.
So if you have people who are interested in it, then they can come and say, yeah, we
That
want
makes
this
sense.
beautiful sign, to pay a small amount, right? It's a huge subdivision.
So you're saying you need 251 signatures?
Right.
If there are 500.
How many we have, well, for food, so especially.
There's almost 800
Of
houses.
food, yeah, right?
Well, you know that isn't.
It could be a small number too. But it's gonna be split amongst people who are.
How many signatures do you need?
You need a majority of people who are, it's gonna, assessing's gonna have that. So you say it's gonna be this road down to here, this
So then
plat,
somebody has to.
whatever the plats are, somebody's gonna have to.
Somebody has.
Some subdivision, yeah, who wants to.
To me, that makes sense, you don't have any HOA, I don't see the village responsible for putting up a sign in the subdivision. To me, it's like, if you wanna sign, it's, if we wanna sign it all twenty. You know, Mike and I will go with the signatures and everybody should share the cost of the sign, I don't see that as a village responsibility.
So we spent a few $1,000s correct on Shepherd Hills stuff this year. Crystal Hills as well, so we're just gonna throw Chicory on the platter.
Well, I don't know about that, so tell me about that.
We were looking to redo all of this, it's not just Chicory, so it's already been in the process. So-
Well, I said that earlier, I don't see a problem with doing that, all of them, within the means that make sense, a shared cost, okay, the village. Pick up some of that cost, but then the constituents pick up, but the other thing, but first, before any of that, say, let's decide what we're gonna do for the village. Let's start with the village signs, I mean, those
Does,
are part of that whole thing, and it's part of a style guide, so what is the style guide gonna look like with all these signs?
does anyone have a recollection of what the signs at Prairie Ridge and Crystal Hills comes?
Troy provided that for me earlier today. I think they expended about $1,500 on.
Yeah, And that's a nice.
That's a pretty cool.
That was somebody just painting them and stuff.
No, this is a brand new sign.
No, it's also,
It looks.
Just the
they did a very good job.
It's just okay. Yeah, but to me, that's a reasonable sign, 1,500 versus 19,000.
Yes, but they have a sign to start with. That's the thing.
Well,
We're looking at a new
nevertheless,
sign.
it doesn't look like this sign
Yeah.
post here.
I think a new sign is definitely warranted, you know, but I mean, like, if you're gonna wanna do a fancy sign that's $20,000, but $18,000.
14,000.
14, but if you're looking at potentially 2, right? That is more than what we put at Promontory when we actually funded it, right? So I mean, if you start doing that, then it's like everybody wants a $14,000 sign, and the Williams point is that we don't have that even in our neighbor coming into the Roscoe.
Yeah,
But I think Chicory Ridge, out of doubt, needs a sign.
I agree with the sign.
I agree with the sign, but I
If you
do.
want a sign in your neighborhood, you live there, you're the one that's gonna benefit from it. And you make a list, go get signatures for it, and then pass an assessment, and then pay for it by everybody. But if you go walk around in your own neighborhood and say, well, we're not gonna pay for an assessment just because somebody wants a sign. I think that you have to get the constituents to sign up for that assessment, and to bring that up.
Right, if we give them a decent sign, if you want, like the sign, it's like.
Yeah, and then you could put in there like, okay, to your point, Justin, okay, you wanna do this and other subdivision, all right, the village is gonna pay X%. If there's a participation
them together on the existing substructure.
Yeah.
Okay, so to have new substructure wouldn't be, I would think, that much. So I'm just offering that as a suggestion. It continues the branding. They're attractive. And they're far less expensive. And because they're far less expensive, you could get 2 of them, because Chicory is a big subdivision. It has 2 major entrances. And in my opinion, there needs to be signage there, and I would like to see something, but something less costly.
Yes,
And if, they're going on private property, are they? The Chicory?
Yes, all kinds of,
Okay,
well,
well,
most,
and our subdivision is blessed, as Troy knows, the lady across the street maintains that little boulevard because it's an extension of her front yard. And she's just great. And you can't have that in all subdivisions. But I'm just making a suggestion to continue the uniformity, to bring the cost down, that there be something similar to what are in those 2 subdivisions, because they are on the west side. And they're nice looking. Everyone who sees them remarks, wow,
You want me
gotta
to-
be bang for the buck there.
I can price that out. As
With the trellises.
I prefer to not be exactly the same personally.
no, I think it's
Every subdivision, identity, so.
Try to get your sign that.
I like driving down and see the Signal Hill sign looks different than Deerwood sign looks different than Shepherd, or Shepherd's Hill looks different than Deerwood, looks different than Sagewood. They all look different, they all have their own identity. It just so happens that the subdivisions we're talking about now were all built at roughly the same time by the same developer, and probably just went back to the same source and built the sign each time. But the ask could be to do something that is consistent in scale and material. And with its own maybe design identity or its own branding.
So can I say that I think that's a great idea, and then Justin, if the subdivision wants to spruce it up and get a sign that's, you know, that's bigger and better than the one that, you know, the village is going to do, you know, that amount still applies to the subdivision. I mean, if there's 800 homes there, for gosh sake, you get like, you know, $50 a person or something, you could build this thing.
Easy pay.
But I mean, but I think the base should be the same, and then it's up to us whether they want to do it, but I think it's gotta be a very nice looking sign that we're doing with the other subdivisions, that meets the needs of the subdivision. They can, I think maybe they should even have their own autonomy to decide, you know, what it looks like, what's the design, what's the logo, right?
We just be interested, walk around, knock on the door, say, hey, here's the opportunity. You know, we'll pay X, you pay X. What do you think? You want to sign or not?
What do you need from us, Scott?
What I'm
The
going to
dollar
do,
amount?
no, what I'm gonna do is try to get a quote to produce a sign. I'm trying to share, I don't know why it's not shared. I'll get a quote to make a sign that is comparable in size and scale to Crystal Hills and Prairie Ridge and does Clearwing even have a sign?
no, not anymore, there's nothing there.
Okay. No, Joe's.
There's a, whatever you wanna call it, there's a
A median
whatever you want, yeah,
boulevard.
but it's all dirt, there's nothing that says what that place is anymore either.
I'll say I'm fine with that. It's just my frustration is this has gone on for 2 years, we budgeted for it for 2 years, it's not been done. None of the landscaping that we budgeted for has been done. We have $45,000 dedicated to entrances and we spent how much? Roughly
Maybe only 1,500?
$1,500.
Then we share that money with every single subdivision, done, do it.
So
You want to, good.
my thing is like,
Every
why
subdivision
should we
gets
budget
X
X
amount of
money
dollars.
if we're not gonna spend it?
We had this discussion last week.
It's just-
I don't know, I see this, like,
Down that-
I'm unable to share, but this is the sign that Public Works repainted and they built the cedar trellis structure new around it.